Hi. Okay. You see yourself?
Yeah. Hello, my name is Karina Cardenas. I'm in Professor Cummings' speech class. I'm here today to tell you about the life of Walt Disney. Because I'm a huge fan of anything Disney and have visited his theme park several times, I would like to bring to you a little more behind the scenes of the man who created the most magical place on earth, Mr. Walt Disney himself. Walt, born Walter Elias Disney, was born in 1901. He was a complex person, but had a love for children all his life, and even more so after he had his own children. Walt loved the characters he created so much that when he was 16, he drove an ambulance for the Red Cross in the Army, covered all in future Disney imaginative characters instead of the typical Red Cross symbol. When Walt came back from France after being in the Red Cross, he started his first business named iWorks Disney Commercial Artists. Unfortunately, his first attempt at his own business failed. This did not deter Walt Disney from moving to Los Angeles, California to continue to pursue his dreams. It was said that when Walt arrived in Hollywood with $40 in his pocket and an unfinished cartoon in his suitcase, he soon went into business with his brother Roy Disney in Hollywood. They started Disney Brothers Studios almost immediately. His first creations were the Alice in Cartoonland series and a few silent films called The Silly Symphonies. In 1927, a star was born. Walter invented Mortimer Mouse, but Walt's wife Lillian Disney felt that the name Mortimer Mouse was much too serious and changed the name to none other than Mickey Mouse. Soon after, Walt Disney made his first cartoon, including full music and talking. Remember, for a good portion of the early 1900s, most films were not only in black and white, but silent as well. As you can see, Mickey Mouse cartoons have evolved enormously since Walt's first cartoon starring Mickey. But Mickey Mouse is just as lovable as ever. Here is a clip from his first cartoon, Steamboat Willie.
Good.
Okay, that's just a short clip. Soon after, Walt Disney and his short staff invented Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck, Pluto, and Goofy cartoon series as well. For many years after this cartoon, Mickey became an instant star. Children everywhere knew who he was. Walt was very proud of Mickey Mouse, but soon started to think that he did not want to be remembered his entire life as simply the creator of a mouse. Although Walt had produced two of the most successful cartoons in the industry, his desire was to make a full-length feature. Many of the experts and critics in the movie business were certain that his attempt at a full-length feature would be the end of him. Both Walt's wife Lillian and his brother Roy tried to talk Walt out of this crazy idea and encouraged him to continue with his already successful cartoon series. Disney's first full-length feature was the original Snow White, which we're all very familiar with, and the Seven Dwarfs. Much to his critics' surprise, Disney's first attempt was successful, and it earned Walt his very first Oscar award and 7 little miniature Oscars resembling each and every dwarf. Walt's other full-length feature films included other familiar names as Pinocchio, Fantasia, and Bambi, but disappointingly did not generate much income. Soon after the US entered into the World War II, Disney released Dumbo. Taking notice in Walt Disney's finely created films and popularity, for the most part at that time, the Army contracted Disney and his experienced staff to create training and instructional videos for the military. This contract with the military did not generate much income, but it did produce just enough to keep Walt and his studios out of bankruptcy and continue to produce Alice in Wonderland and Peter Pan. Now, the part we've all been waiting for. By the 1940s, Walt Disney began to draw sketches for his first amusement park where he envisioned his employees spending time with their children. His magical ideas for his amusement park came from the love of spending time with his own two daughters and for his love of children in general. The first thing Disney knew for sure was that he wanted his magical amusement park to be surrounded by a train, which both Disneyland and Walt Disney World are surrounded by a train. Disney soon assigned a small group of his most creative employees to work on the development of his amusement park. They were called the Imagineers. Appropriate name, right? On July 17, 1955, Disneyland finally opened and was immediately successful. Visitors came from around the world to marvel at one of the world's most first and amazing theme parks, starring all of Disney's most beloved characters. Soon after the opening of Disneyland, Walt Disney's Soon after the opening of Disneyland, Walt Disney Weekly Show went from black and white and was called The Wonderful World of Color soon after. In his lifetime, Walt Disney's successes included establishing himself as the world's leading producer of family entertainment. Towards the end of Walt's career, after decades and decades of trying, Walt obtained the rights to the books starring a famous magical nanny. You guessed it, none other than Mary Poppins. The film Mary Poppins was then created and released in 1964 and was the most successful film created in the 1960s. This film, due to its live and animation features, was considered one of Walt's greatest lifetime achievements and still is a great movie. In 1964, Walt began to purchase land in Florida to create Disney World here in Florida as a larger version of the already loved and successful Disneyland. Sadly, Walt Disney died from lung cancer after years and years of chain smoking. Disney was not completed until 3 years later after his death, and Walt never got to see the end result of the magical world he created in Florida. In his lifetime, Walt obtained 22 Academy Awards and left a long legacy of his work to animate and bring a certain magic into the life of children everywhere. At Walt's funeral, the popular song from Pinocchio was played in Disney's honor, When You Wish Upon a Dream. Many have said about Walt Disney he was truly a genius, creative, with great determination, singleness of purpose, and drive. And through his entire life, he was never pushed off his course or diverted to do other things. Walt Disney left an everlasting empire which became even more successful and fruitful in the years after his death. Walt Disney's animation and motion picture studios and theme parks have developed into a multi-billion-dollar television, motion picture, vacation, and media corporation that carries his name. The end.